I'm Art Wiers, and I'm excited to share with you my involvement in transition ministry as I lead a transition ministry team for the region of the Great Lakes. I'm excited about that because I believe there's a lot of value in the work of specialized transition ministers. This is what I would refer to as the Big Seven. There are many advantages to utilizing the resources of a specialized transition minister when a church is going through a leadership transition, particularly a lead pastor. And I would just like to go through these Big Seven with you and point out the things that can really make a difference for a church that is facing the transition of a pastor. I know many times when a consistory or leaders in the church face that time, they think, well, we'll just get some fill-ins, we'll just get through, and we'll quickly look for a pastor. And often that ends up being less fruitful or advantageous than they had hoped. And so let me just share a few thoughts about the use of a specialized transition minister. We are blessed to have many excellent leaders who are serving in that role in our region. And one of the things they do when they come into a church going through a time of transition is they bring some healthy objectivity that no one else can. There can be some really good leaders at the table in a boardroom, but the transition pastor has no biases there and can see things new and fresh, and will often be able to ask questions and process difficult things in new and meaningful ways. And so I highly recommend that bringing in that new person and that skilled, experienced leader will bring a lot of value to the ministry during that time of transition. Also, not to be underestimated is the importance of preparing the runway. And by that I mean one of the very significant things the transition pastor can do for a church is begin preparing a path for the new pastor to come in and build on the ministry that's there already. Because often there are things in the way, things that will really obstruct meaningful ministry, and it will take that new pastor months, maybe even years, to get those things out of the way. So a transition pastor can be exceptionally helpful in preparing the runway for the next pastor. It goes without saying that stability in a ministry is really important. And often elders are very concerned about that in regards to what's going to happen with the church staff, who's going to manage that, what's going to happen with board meetings, etc., etc. Well, obviously, a big advantage of an experienced and capable transition minister who has good leadership skills is that stability will be there on a day-to-day basis, and the ministry will not suffer because of inconsistencies that might otherwise occur. I also point out to those in leadership in the church that continuity is a really significant thing, and often that's mostly true in the area of worship and preaching. It can be that a guest pastor can be very helpful, but when you have many different guest pastors over months and months, then you lack the continuity that helps hold the congregation and move the congregation forward. And so it is a really significant thing and a blessing to have the continuity of a capable preacher and communicator in the pulpit that's very focused on the needs and the concerns of this particular congregation from Sunday to Sunday. Then there's also the matter of guidance and resourcing, particularly of a search process. While there can be some very capable people in the church that can be brought onto a search team, most people have very little, if any, experience in trying to understand how to seek a pastor that will be the right fit for this particular church. And that's where the skills and experience of a specialized transition pastor can be particularly helpful to a church and their leadership group. And I've seen it over and over again where a specialized transition minister has made all the difference in helping to facilitate coming alongside those leaders and helping them sort through that process in a way that is meaningful and effective. Two more that are on my list is momentum. One of the things that typically happens to churches during a time of pastoral transition is a lack of momentum. And often there will be people who will be wandering off, thinking about going elsewhere, or there will be people backing away slowly from commitments they have made. And good news about a specialized transition minister is that is usually minimized, and sometimes even momentum will even pick up under the fresh leadership of the new specialized transition minister. And then lastly, but certainly not least, is the matter of health and vitality. We want all of our churches healthy and growing. And it's very difficult to be in a growth mode and increase health when you're lacking the key leader in the church. The good news about bringing in a specialized transition minister, whether it's for 12 months or 15 months or whatever the need is there isn't this dropping away for several months of momentum and energy in the ministry. And so we're excited to be able to offer these services within our region to those churches that are going through a time of transition in leadership, and we would be pleased to have conversations with leaders who would like to explore that further with us.